Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Meg Lewis, Public Information Officer for the City of Independence, and we are here today during the live session for Handling Finances during COVID-19. We are excited to have with us some experts in the area from CSL and Missouri Primary Care. I'm going to let them introduce themselves here and give you a bit of their background, and we'll keep things going through the next 30 minutes. Iva, if you want to start.
Thank you, Megan. Hi, I'm Iva Eggert-Shepard. I am previously employed as an outreach program manager with Missouri Primary Care Association, but before becoming an employee there, I had worked with the Family Support Division for 17 years. I worked as a caseworker, a case manager, and a supervisor, but I still advocate, and I work with our frontline staff at our federally qualified healthcare centers to help individuals with Medicaid food stamps.
Lynn, do you want to give your background?
Sure. Thanks, Meg. Hi, I'm Lynn Rose. I'm Senior Vice President with Community Services League. I'm in my 8th year with the organization, and in a nutshell, my job is to access grant funding, grant and contract funding through private, public, local, regional, state, and national funders to help low-income families with basic needs, with rent and utilities, with housing. Why do I know, or why am I sitting here today? I suppose that it's my job to really understand how to access these funds, what are the eligibility requirements, what types of documentation is needed to access these and to utilize these funds. So hopefully what I'll be able to let you know today is whether you're working with CSL or another nonprofit organization for assistance for rent, utilities, and other types of basic needs, that give some guidance and some guidelines on how to get those resources for your families.
And Rachel.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Barker. I'm Vice President of Financial Coaching at Community Services League. I have nearly 10 years of experience in personal banking, lending, and I'm a HUD certified housing counselor. In my role at CSL, I work with families and individuals on many financial topics such as budgeting, credit building, savings plans, debt reduction, and home ownership. So we work with people through financial emergencies and long-term goal planning. In financial coaching, our mission is to help you reach your financial goals, and we do that by providing clear and accurate information and connecting you to resources. So really today I want to be able to talk to people about budgeting and be a resource for people in our community.
Thank you guys all for being here with us today. We're going to ask each of you to mute your computer when you're not talking, just so we don't have a little bit of feedback in the background. One of the first things that we're going to talk about today, and it's a common concern that we're seeing on those reports to the city and our partners in the community. The question is, how do they make the family budget stretch for as long as possible during this time? We are now learning of the reopening dates and some of the phases associated with that, but there's still a lot of uncertainty. So how do we best help those families stretch that family budget from month to month, week to week? Rachel, you want to take that one?
Yeah, so I'm going to say that we do go back to basics whenever it comes to budgeting through something like this. The last month and a half has been really hard on families' monthly budgets. There are basic steps for anyone facing decreased income because of COVID-19 or any other reason. So this is a really good time to start keeping a written list of expenses if you don't do it right now. So first you make a list of your upcoming expenses and your amounts due. Then you make a list of sources of income and the final amount, if it's your last check, or the reduced amount if you're working less. And you also want to write down the amounts that you have in cash, emergency savings, or retirement accounts. So making a list, it'll give you a really good idea of what's coming up and what is in the future for you. So I would say be very thorough when listing out expenses. Include not only your housing payment and your utilities, but also include gym memberships, subscriptions, etc. Separating out your expenses out between needs, housing, food, and utilities, and wants, your gym membership, cable, eating out, is important because then you can start cutting down or eliminating expenses in the one category. And having this written list of expenses is also helpful because you can look for specific resources, resources like we're going to be talking about today to help fill in any budget gaps. It's important to be proactive if you can't pay a bill in full, and to keep promises of what you say that you'll pay. Many companies are giving payment relief, but you must reach out to them to benefit from the relief. And don't be afraid to ask. Finally, once you figure out what you need, then move on to what you can actually pay. Make payment arrangements with companies. Again, you have to reach out to them to make those payment arrangements when you can't pay the full amount, and use community resources like we're going to be talking about today. CSL financial coaches, we are available to work with you one-on-one if you need help making a plan.
Okay, Iva or Lynn, do you have anything that you would add to that?
Sure. You know, if your income has decreased, I would encourage you to apply for temporary assistance through the state of Missouri. And you can do that by going to their website, which is dss.mo.gov. And, you know, a lot of people say, you know, I don't want to do that. You know, that's for people in need. Well, we are all in need at this point. And I would encourage every single one of you to do that because, you know, you have been working, you've paid in taxes, and, you know, I can't tell you if you would be eligible, but I want to encourage you to apply. So please go to their website and do that. You can also call them. Their information line is 1-855-373-4636. And you can do this Monday through Sunday. Monday through Friday, the hours are from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturday, 8 to 5. And on Sunday, it's 10 to 3.
Thank you. Lynn, do you have anything you'd add? Lynn, we're having trouble hearing you.
Can you hear me now?
We can. Thank you.
Sorry, technology failure. What I was saying just very quickly is that I think, as Rachel was saying, being proactive with your household budget right now is probably the most important thing that people can do, rather than getting caught kind of blindsided by a major deficit in your household budget. Is really to be thoughtful and proactive and thinking about paying what you can and listing your priorities.
Great, thank you guys. So along with the household budget, one of the most common concerns that we're seeing across the region right now is food resources. So access to the different food banks, pantries, and other help. Lynn, can you talk to us a little bit about what the different options are around these?
Sure, absolutely. Since the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, the majority of CSL's response has been around food, access to food, food delivery systems, basic needs, that sort of thing. And how do we continue to provide food to the neighbors that we serve in a safe but efficient, fast manner. So the need that we have seen has grown at about 300 to 400% since COVID has begun. All of our food pantries that are located in Independence, Blue Springs, Buckner, Oak Grove, Grand Valley have gone to a strictly drive-through food pantry system. I would encourage anybody who is not familiar with our schedule to check us out on Facebook. We update that daily to let you know which offices are open on which days and which hours. We have dramatically reduced the documentation. Well, we've eliminated any documentation. All you have to do is show up at one of our sites, give us your name, number of people in your household, just some very brief information will get you your food and you're on your way. And that is at all of CSL's food pantry locations. In addition to Community Services League, there are a number of churches and other food pantries available in the community. We're working to bring together a list of those so that we'll have that available to you, and we'll try to push that out on our Facebook as well. So I think, again, if you are talking about being proactive and food is a concern for you or your household, is just really to do your research, locate the food pantries in your area, and certainly you can contact CSL, check out our website, check out our Facebook page for any additional information. And I think, again, if you're really being thoughtful and looking at household budgets, we do know that SNAP, the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, has extended full benefits for, it was full benefits in April, and we know full benefits in May. Beyond that, we're not sure, but hopefully that program will help continue to make sure that food is on everybody's table.
Iva, do you have other resources that you would recommend?
Sure. I would encourage you also to apply for food stamp benefits. As Lynn had referenced to that, the SNAP program. You can go, if you do not have an application, I do know that you can go to one of the food pantries and they have those available. Or you can go online to dss.mo.gov and you can print off an application. And at this time, you cannot apply for food stamps online, but when you do print that off, there is a special number that you can actually fax this application to during the COVID-19, and that fax number is 573-526-9400. And again, the information line for the Mo Health Net, for information on food stamps and Medicaid and child care subsidy and the temporary assistance is 855-373-4636. And something new that they have, this just came out, information to me yesterday, is called My DSS Chat. You can go to that website and you can ask them just general information questions on food stamps. Say, I'm curious to find out, I have a household of 5. How much would I qualify for? And they can answer general questions. They do not do eligibility questions at this time, but they would be able to help you with that too.
And we have a question from the population watching us right now, Iva, on that. Where can you go to fax if you don't have a fax machine?
Well, that's a very good question. A lot of banks are letting you fax. Lynn, do we have any resources available through CSL to help out with faxing?
As of right now, this afternoon, we don't. However, our team is working. We know that in 14 and a half days now that some of the stay-at-home restrictions are going to be lifted. We're trying to identify some safe ways that we can be open to assist folks in doing exactly that. When the libraries are closed and everywhere else is closed, how do people, but the only thing you can do is fax. So we are committed to being a resource for our neighbors in that area, and there will be more to come in probably the next week and a half on how we can open up and try to safely help folks do that.
Meg, I would also say that if people really do need to fax today or very soon, that you could go to your UPS or a FedEx store and they can fax from there too. I'm not sure on the cost, but I do know that they have those services in an emergency like this too.
And I'm not sure on these. Would someone there are applications you can use with your smartphone to scan in a document. Would the government entities accept that sort of scan?
Absolutely. Yes, they will. I can give you that email address.
Why don't you give it in case people can scan it in with their phones?
Okay, perfect. It's fsd.documents@dss.mo.gov.
Thank you very much. And Kelly, we are waiting to hear when the libraries will open as we go through the phasing of the reopening processes across the region. So I would keep a lookout on those library Facebook, social media pages, as well as the news as we continue to get more information on that. But that's a very good question. And we have a good group of resources here to help get that information in if you are needing to fax that information. So along the lines of food, one of the next top questions that we have is rent and mortgage. Lynn, can you talk to us a little bit about the resources available in the community to help people with those questions?
Sure, yeah. So I can speak specifically to CSL's process. We do know that, well, we're already seeing a dramatic increase in requests for utility and rent mortgage assistance. Fortunately, at this time, evictions and utility shutoffs aren't happening on a widespread basis. Utility shutoffs, most utility companies have completely eliminated those for a time. But we know that eventually the bills are going to come due, and for both rent, utilities, and mortgage. CSL works very hard every year, not just during pandemics, to gain access to federal, state, and local funding resources for those costs related to housing and utilities. Our process during this time is to accept inquiries. We have folks manning the phones. You can call 816-254-4100 and talk with somebody or leave a message that will be returned about rent and utility requests. We also have a recently launched in my opinion, very robust website that is cslc19.org that you can contact CSL through that portal by clicking on housing, or once you get to the site, there are several domains that you can take a look at and contact us. But what I do know, when you are needing rent or utility assistance, before you come to us, I would just be very prepared. You need to have bills, account numbers, amounts that are due, arrears, that sort of thing. We do have most funding resources have some sort of eligibility requirements that are completely out of CSL's hands, that they tell us you have to serve people that either are in a specific geographic area or who have an income at or below a certain level. So when you come to us, just be prepared. Or when you call us or seek assistance, be prepared as best you can with your documentation and information related to your needs. The other thing I think that everybody needs to understand and be prepared for is that there will be needs beyond resources. So what CSL is preparing to do is, or is working on every day, is connecting with other partners in our area to find out who has resources, so that when people come to us, if we're not able to help, we are going to be able to point folks into a direction that they can get some help and work together with other area providers so that we can equitably distribute funds to folks in need. But I think bottom line, the last thing I'll say about housing and utility is that come to CSL, whether we are able to pay a bill or not at that time. We certainly want to help folks navigate through these rocky times and get the help that you need to stabilize housing.
As we were preparing for this, there was a conversation that we had, and I think, Rachel, you were the one that sort of started that line of the conversation, where we were encouraging citizens and those throughout to talk to their landlords and their banks about their payment process. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So landlords, absolutely, like the common thread here is be proactive to only thing that you can do is communicate with your landlord. As far as mortgages go, part of the government action, specifically for people, homeowners with government-backed mortgages, payments can be put into forbearance if you're experiencing hardship due to COVID-19, and it's really best to contact your lender directly. They have very specific instructions on working with people to avoid foreclosure due to COVID-19. In fact, any foreclosure action that was being taken, I think it was as of March 16th, I think that was the date, has been frozen and is frozen for 60 days. So that's, you have to work directly with your mortgage company. And again, they're not going to reach out to you and say, hey, are you having a problem? You're going to have to reach out to them, and there is a process to go through the forbearance action. And then as far as other types of bills that you have, I'm thinking specifically loans. Many banks and credit unions have done really great things for their customers to maybe skip a payment or to decrease the amount that's due or waive interest or something like that. Again, reach out to them and be proactive and tell them what you can do. This is how much I can pay. This is when I will be able to pay, to just give them the opportunity to work with you.
Thanks, guys. That's a lot of really good information. Another common question that we're having that sort of goes along in these lines is utilities. So many residents and independents are City of Independence utilities customers. At this time, the City of Independence is not doing any shutoffs. We are not having any late fees on the accounts, and we are not charging any online or credit card fees associated with those payments. So if there are issues with your utility bill, we strongly encourage our citizens to contact our customer service team so that they can work together with you on a payment plan. But there are also resources out there, both through the government and locally, to help with those. Iva, can you talk a little bit more about the utility assistance that is available?
Sure. The Family Support Division has an application for financial help to heat or cool your home, and it's called a Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program. And how you find that application is if you go to the dss.mo.gov website and type in at the very top right-hand corner under the search bar, Low Income Energy Assistance, and then follow the questions. The next question you will need to click on is, how do I apply for assistance? And then that will bring up this application. Just follow the directions on the application, and it does give you where you need to send this application to. This, the timeframes to submit this application has been extended until May the 31st.
Thank you. Lynn, Rachel, do you have any other resources you'd like people to know about?
Specifically for Independence Power and Light, I think everybody is familiar because you see it in your monthly bill, an opportunity for Independence residents to donate to what is called iShare, which is a IPL specific, Independence Power and Light specific assistance fund. The city has asked CSL for many, many years now to administer those funds. Again, they're for Independence residents with Independence Power and Light who are unable to pay their bill can contact CSL directly through our website by calling 816-254-4100 to request consideration of those funds. The other program that we administer through the city specifically for Independence Power and Light customers is called IRAP. And that is a program, it's a rate reduction program for persons, for senior members of, or senior residents, and for persons with disabilities. So you can also contact us about that. And then just in addition, as I talked before, that CSL does have access to other local, state, and federal funds for utility assistance. So again, contact us if you're needing help, and we can discuss those options.
And our time is flying by this afternoon, but we have a couple more important pieces that we want to get to, as well as any final questions and a review of resources. So one of the last big areas that we wanted to talk about is unemployment. We know that is a significant concern to a lot of families right now. Iva, can you talk about the resources that are available?
Yes, I want to be totally honest with you. The unemployment whole process right now is very slow. The system for applying for unemployment was not designed to hold the magnitude of individuals from the state of Missouri to apply. So I do want to give you several numbers. You do not have to live within these regions to call these numbers, but the first one for unemployment is the 1-800-320-2519. The first thing I would suggest is apply online, because you do all of your application, you do everything online, and it seems to be that's running just a little bit faster than if you would call. And that internet website is Interact, it's interact.labor.mo.gov, or you can go to labor.mo.gov. And another phone number I wanted to give to you is the Jefferson City area. It's 573-751-9040, or the Kansas City office, which is 816-889-3101. And they do have a fax number if you need to fax anything to them. Their fax number is 573-751-9730.
Rachel, do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I do. So there are some regional assistance for unemployment. And like Iva said, many people are struggling through the system. The Missouri Job Center is offering one-on-one online assistance to help people apply for unemployment. Although whenever I just got on their website earlier today, it said their online scheduling system was down. So hopefully that's up back soon. Their website is jobs.mo.gov. You can also call Legal Aid of Western Missouri for specific questions about unemployment. Their phone number is, I was just looking that up, is 816-474-6750. And then finally, I would like to mention the CSL COVID Help Center website. We have some helpful information on there about unemployment. And there's also a section on there about getting employment if your job is currently shut down. That is something that CSL is still actively doing.
Thank you all. So we will provide all of these numbers that they have shared with us today. We'll get a full list of those so that we can share them in a comment on this video once it's finalized up here on both Facebook and YouTube, so that we have a full list of those numbers, because a large number of numbers and websites have been shared here today. So I'll ask Lynn and Iva and Rachel to send all of those to me so we can get those out to the public. We also had a question on the IndyBus decision. That is not finalized right now, and it's important to note that that is a ongoing conversation, and that there are public meetings planned for that on May 13th. If you have questions or concerns about that, you can email us in the city at transit, TRANSIT, at indepmo.org. So there are opportunities to give feedback on that. One final thing that we wanted to give a high-level summary to is the sort of government actions that are ongoing. We have the stimulus checks that people have seen in their accounts. There's some further conversations at the federal and state level on ways that we can support communities throughout this. Rach, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on?
Sure. Like you just mentioned, there's the economic impact payment. That's what people are calling the stimulus. So that is, right now it's a one-time payment, and it just depends on the income that you earned in either 2018 or 2019. Many people have already received their checks, but if you haven't, then you can go to irs.gov/coronavirus. They have some tools there for you to update your address, update your bank account information, or add dependents if you are not required to file a tax return. I would just kind of plug, as far as budgeting goes, this money is definitely to use for bills and emergencies that you have right now, and then, you know, to use it to work on paying down debt, to save some money, or, you know, to tackle that home maintenance or auto maintenance project that you've had for a while. The second thing, we already talked about the homeowner relief program. So again, just contact your mortgage company if you have questions about not being able to make payments regarding, or if you're having hardships because of COVID-19. And then your federal student loans. This relief actually goes until September 30th of 2020. Most federal student loans, they have been put into a special forbearance, and interest has been dropped to 0%. And so payments are 0 and interest is 0. So that can be a really big relief for people, that they don't have to pay their student loans. One thing that I would plug about both of those forbearance programs, mortgage and student loans, is that this is forbearance. It's putting it off. It's not forgiving this payment. So just like utility bills, just like your rent, at some point it is going to become due. In the case of mortgages and student loans, it's being tacked on to the end of your loan. So pay what you can, even if the payment right now is $0.
Good advice. So as we're wrapping up here at our 30-minute mark, any final pieces or reminders that you want everybody to keep in mind as we go throughout the rest of this event? We'll start with Iva.
Yes, one of the questions that has been posed to me over the last couple of weeks is, does the Family Support Division count unemployment as income? And that answer is yes. They do count that on your food stamps. So when you are applying, they will count your unemployment weekly checks as income on there.
Lynn?
I want to echo something that Iva said earlier in this discussion today, is that I think we're going to see unprecedented numbers of people who have never had to access either services, private services like through CSL, or public benefits through SNAP, or any other type of assistance. And, you know, we want to really encourage people to reach out and to ask questions. We're all basically in the same proverbial boat, and unprecedented times and uncharted water. So I would just encourage anybody out there who's just really, you know, kind of struggling with how to navigate this system that you've maybe never had to navigate, just reach out to any one of us or to any nonprofit social service organizations, because we're all here to help.
Rachel, anything you'd like to add?
Nothing that these two ladies haven't already said. Organizations are here ready to help. A lot of times you just have to ask for that help, and we're here to help you.
So one thing I would like to close on this is that it's okay to not be okay. There are a lot of stressors that are going on here. And when you're talking about finances, that puts even more stress on families and individuals that are dealing with these trying situations. There are a large number of resources in the community for people that may need a little bit of help with mental health as well. Not only does the CSL website have it on there, you can find resources on the city's website, which is indep.us/coronavirus, that has information to get you in contact with crisis centers and others that may be able to talk you through some of these more challenging situations as well. So we will be sharing all the information that Lynn, Iva, and Rachel gave us today for phone numbers and websites in a post here later this afternoon. But we really appreciate you guys taking some time to talk us through a very complex situation. And again, sort of summarizing what these guys said, talk to your landlords, your mortgage lenders, talk to local community partners for food assistance, bill payment assistance. There's resources out there, but you have to ask. So thank you guys again for joining us today, and we look forward to doing another one of these Q&As on a separate topic in a couple of weeks as we continue through this process. So stay home, stay strong, stay safe, everybody. We're in this together, and thank you for all being here today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.